First tonight, a mother from Leeds whose son took his own life after accessing a pro-suicide website says she's linked at least 21 other deaths in the UK to the same site.
Joe Nihill died in 2020 after exchanging dozens of messages in an online forum, which explains methods of suicide.
Since then, his mum Catherine and sister-in-law Melanie have campaigned to have it removed. Now, for the first time, they've joined forces with another mother whose son died after accessing the same page. We've chosen not to name it to prevent others from finding it. Joe's mother begins this report from Amelia Beckett.
He was a joker. He was kind. He was outgoing. He was a daredevil, wasn't he?
Definitely. He'd always do things to make someone laugh.
This is how Joe's mother Catherine and sister-in-law Melanie remember him. An upbeat, former army cadet, laughing and joking. But after a number of family bereavements, coupled with the start of lockdown, Joe had become depressed. By the time he was 23, he was suicidal.
You shouldn't have to see anybody like that, but not one of your children. Especially at 23. It was just a shell. It was, for us as a family,
He was empty.
Yeah.
What Catherine didn't know is that Joe had found a website where users suggest methods of suicide, and some even offer encouragement to do it.
Get me a kiss. Love you too. I come down the next morning and the door was half open. And I knew it's just that stays in your head. Constant.
After his death, Melanie discovered dozens of messages Joe exchanged on the website, including one telling him how to take his own life. In a suicide note, he asked for the website to be shut down, writing, "Please do your best in closing that website for anyone else."
When you can see a goodbye thread as a mother or a father.
It's a story which tragically mirrors Angela's. Her son Brett killed himself in 2019. But it wasn't until after his death that she found out he'd accessed the same website.
Well, the first thing you do is you start Googling everything, don't you? And I couldn't believe how easy and accessible that site was. Literally a click of a button.
The two mothers formed a strong bond through their tragic shared experiences and united in their determination to stop it happening to anyone else. But today is the first time they've met face to face after Angela travelled to Yorkshire from her home in Stoke.
Until I met Catherine and Melanie, I was just one person on my own. And it was really, really difficult. You've got somebody that you can unite with for a cause to... It can't help our sons, but it can stop somebody else's children.
Through their own investigations, they've now discovered and confirmed 21 deaths in Britain linked to the same website. They've worked tirelessly to get it blocked. And yet, 2 years on from their own son's deaths, it's still readily accessible.
And all you need to do is go on a couple of pages further down.
Australia, Germany, Italy have taken that site down. What is it going to take for them to take it down?
A coroner ruled Joe's death a suicide, but said some sites like he was accessing may be breaking the law. Nobody has been held criminally responsible for what happened.
If you assist somebody in their death, person to person, if you hand that person whatever method they're using to end their life, you are a criminal. But because it's online, you're not seen as a criminal.
We don't want any more parents to get the news that we got. We don't want any more people that are suffering with mental health, no matter what their ages are, any disability, finding their way onto that site and being assisted in taking their own lives.
These mothers know that nothing will bring their children back. But as long as the website remains accessible, they fear another life could be lost with just the click of a button.
Well, Amelia joins us in the newsroom now. And Amelia, the government are taking steps to toughen these laws, aren't they? What steps are they actually taking?
Yes, so the Online Safety Bill is set to become law later this year, and it will essentially hold platforms responsible for their content. Now, the government told us that encouraging suicide online is illegal, and these new laws should force platforms, including small websites and search engines, to remove it. But Catherine's MP, Richard Bergen, who's raised this in Parliament a number of times, says he's concerned there are still loopholes.
You want to ensure that there are no loopholes. That means ensuring that it covers everybody, both those over 18 and those under 18 in terms of protecting them, but also that there is real vigorous control in relation to the smaller platforms on the internet, not just the giants.
I think there'll be a lot of people at home saying, if it's illegal to encourage suicide online, how on earth are people still accessing this website that Joe did?
Well, basically because the internet is so hard to police, and this particular website is hosted outside of the UK, which makes it even more complicated. Now, earlier I spoke with social media lawyer Yair Cohen, and he says that he's not convinced that the Online Safety Bill will be tough enough to block it.
There are hundreds of search engines, and I think it's going to be very difficult for the government to insist that every single search engine that has got access to UK users will follow those blocking or delisting processes. So the short answer is I don't believe that the online harm bill will in fact result in removal of this type of content from the internet.
Look, it's clearly a complex issue, but I think most people, as you say, would be shocked to know that right now I could log on to that same website and see the same shocking content that Joe and Brett accessed. And the issue here is that Catherine, Melanie and Angela are just concerned, how long is this Online Safety Bill going to take, and how many lives are going to be impacted by then?
OK, well, Amelia, thanks very much indeed for joining us. You can find out more on the issue of pro-suicide websites and details of where to go for help and support by heading to itv.com/calendar.